Shalom. It's your brother Makaza again. You already know what this is. This is Scriptures, No Vain Opinions. All right, as well as Trumpets of Zion. Okay, I want to give all praises to the Most High through his beloved Son, which the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, which some say Yahuwah, Yahushua, some say Yahweh, Yahweh Shai. Okay. Okay, so today's lesson, and first off, I want to say calling you Negroes and indigenous, and those indigenous not of Mongoloid or Spaniard descent, back to our God, which is the God of Israel. Repent, for the kingdom is at hand. Okay, so today's lesson, I will be going into Isaiah, the 11th chapter, primarily the 11th and 12th verse. And I also want to say that this lesson is not for you chart believers. Okay, so I don't subscribe to the 12 tribes chart, and I'm gonna show something in regards to that. Um, just a few things about Brazil I want to bring out. Um, but the point is that for you chart believers, this is not a lesson to help y'all out, because the doctrine I'll be cutting today is showing that Judah is not the only tribe that is scattered. Okay, because when you read the 12th verse, which is right here, and it says, "And he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth." People are teaching that only Judah is scattered, and then that means the rest of the tribes are either just in Africa or like maybe in the outskirts of Israel or something like that, which I don't subscribe to. But I obviously believe that Israel is in Africa. Okay, and yeah, and those that are scattered. My point is that all the tribes are of a Negro stock still, point blank. Period. So I'm not teaching, the chart, and like I said, this lesson is not for you chart believers. Okay, so which I'm gonna show a few things as well before I actually get into the lesson. So I mean, y'all can bear with me. Okay. All right. So first off, um, because like I said, um, you had um, all the tribes are scattered. According to Deuteronomy. You know what I'm saying? Various scriptures which I'm gonna deal with, and according to those that teach that Ashereth is America, even with that, you had Israelites that even in that chapter it tells you that Israelites stayed over there. Okay, that's why hence you have books like Tobit. Okay, so even though, after further research, Ashereth is found also in Africa. Okay, so, later on I'll be touching into that, because I got a lot of sources that show that a lot of the 10 tribes went to Africa. Okay, so, and yeah, so basically, all right, so, and like I said, and this is also for you Latinos that are claim to be in the truth, that say and act like you were shipped before Judah, okay, as if only there were three black tribes. Okay, so you guys is out here, oh, Judah, we were slave before Judah, as if, yeah, like I said, as if there's only three black tribes or two black tribes, and then the rest of the tribes are looking like Ricky Martin and Mongoloid Indians. Okay, because like I said in previous lessons, how you guys aren't learned and studied in the understanding of the Indians and who came over here, and how you had Mongoloids that had the conquest of Mexico and various things like that. All right, so let's get into this first. All right, so this is the Virgin of the Navigators, which I've shown countless times, but it's clear. You know what I'm saying? It's something that needs to be shown. Now, let's go here. Okay, because right here is Columbus, Amerigo Vespucci, but back here we can see these are the indigenous people. Okay, woolly hair, dark skin, so on and so forth. Okay, now somebody might think these are African slaves. Okay, but I'm gonna cut that. All right, so now these are the people that when Columbus shipped them to Spain, those are the people that he sent. Okay, so and matter of fact, let me bring this out while I'm doing it. So y'all bear with me. Y'all bear with me. All right, so cause I had to get a lot of stuff, so it's kind of it's a little all over the place, but it's okay. All right, so here, this is from the book Africans and Native Americans by Jack Forbes. All right, so this is paid, and this is from my Instagram. So a lot of stuff that is I'm gonna bring out you is all on my Instagram. And also, if you want to know the sources and things like that, you can shoot me a comment, or like I said, reach me. You can reach me here. All right, so this is page 24. I'm getting to the point right here. It says, in any case, at least 3,000 Americans, and I brought this out in other lessons, but I wanted to bring it out again because it got to keep surfacing. All right, but it says, in any case, at least 3,000 Americans are known to have been shipped to Europe between 1493 and 1501, with the likely total being possibly double that. Okay, it says most were sent to the Seville area, where they seem to show up in the slave markets as Negroes. Okay, without a place of origin being mentioned. Okay, so I've shown this many times, and even when I did the lesson, which I'll put it in the link about the Thanksgiving tribes, um, the Salakia, the Indian tribes of Thanksgiving were Negroes, and I showed how you had the Wampanoags going out to that area as well. Okay, like King Philip. All right, so we see that it says the Seville area. Okay, now we can go back here and we see the entire altarpiece in Alcazar of Seville. Okay, so this image is in Seville, Spain. Okay, so you see the Negroes. Okay, so point blank period, the people that were shipped to Spain were black people, were Negroes. Okay, so you guys that's out here teaching lies, talking about, oh, we was shipped before Judah and acting like, yeah, you was the ones that were shipped and put on cargo slave ships. No, those were Negroes that happened to. Okay, so you had Negroes over here that were Israel that went that way into Africa, and then you had Negroes that were in the west coast of Africa and Spain that were shipped to the Caribbeans and America. Okay, so y'all need to get that through your heads. All right, but right here, okay, so just to read the description, it says Ferdinand II of Aragon and Emperor Charles V, cloaked in red, are portrayed together with Christopher Columbus, Amerigo Vespucci, and one of the Pizon brothers shown kneeling. So that was right here. Okay, and then I'm going to drop down. Behind the Europeans in the front row, the figure around the Virgin includes indigenous peoples of the Americas, converted from their original faith by the navigators who have set sail in her name. Okay, yet they're gonna show you some Eskimos. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna show some Eskimos. They changed that one image. But basically, yeah, they're gonna show mongoloids like this, in Peru, and I got so much stuff to cut and show the real indigenous people of Peru were as well Negroes. Okay, but like I said, I'm really, I'm gonna touch on this, and like I said, in future lessons, I can bring those things out. But so that's just one aspect. Okay, so just establish that they were sent to Spain and they showed up as Negroes. Okay, and it says without a place of origin being mentioned. Others were probably sold in the Azores, and which is around Africa, All right, let's get that real quick for those that may not know. Okay. All right, Salak, yeah. Azores, and they were shipped to North Africa, Slovakia. So yeah, Portugal as well. Okay, and other islands. All right. So okay. So I just showed okay, Azores. Okay, so yeah, just showing that that was in Seville. All right, showing that was in Seville, and it says others were probably sold in the Azores and other islands, partly to avoid the wrath of Queen Isabella. Okay, so let me continue. It says Columbus reached Lisbon in early March 1493. Many people came to see the captive Americans, and it is very likely that some of the latter were taken 9 leagues into the interior to see the King of Portugal. There it was that two Americans drew maps which showed the Cayos, Bahamas, Cuba, Haiti, and other islands. It may be also that Columbus left some Americans with the Portuguese, as discussed earlier. Okay, and this is page 25, and it says, and I'll get into to the point because this was page 24, and it says, um, but the tens of millions of Americans who disappeared after 1492 did not all die in the Holocaust inflicted within the Americas, because that's the doctrine that all Indians, they were killed off and all of that. Basically, a lot of Indians was killed off with the pen, genocide with the pen. So being classified as Negro, colored, I've shown this in lessons before. Okay, so but it says many thousands were sent to Europe and Africa, where their descendants still live. Okay, so yes, they were shipped to Africa. Indians were shipped. Indios, people of God, you know what I'm saying, were shipped to Africa. So it's not talking about Mongoloid Indians and you modern day Hispanics. All right, so stop with the BS talking about that you were shipped before Judah, and Judah as a the connotation for blacks. Like Judah's the only black. That's it for Judah, or for black people or Negroes is Judah and Benjamin. You know what I'm saying? And Levi. That's it. You know what I'm saying? No, these were Negroes. Okay, and that go for you Negroes that's caping a lot, and you don't know history your damn self. Okay, so that's just one of the sources. All right, so let's go to the next thing. Okay, so let's go to Brazil because that's another thing as well. Brazil. Um, okay, so and look at in this book, which is called Blacks of the Land. I brought this out before, but like I said, I just want to go through a few of these things, and then I'm gonna go into the scriptures. But I just wanted to cut the lies that are being taught, as well as giving history and information on, because according to the dot, which like I said, you got a lot of these people are that I'm showing are 10 tribes, or like your Afro Latinos are part of the 10 tribes as well. And some Negroes thinking they Judah, African Americans that are possibly part of the 10 tribes as well. So it's just showing that not only the slave trade coming from the Atlantic, you know what I'm saying, from the west coast of Africa, I'm also just edifying as well as showing the slave trade in various parts of the Caribbean and going to Africa. Because again, you have people that went to Africa, stayed there. You also had people that went over to Africa, then shipped back. So, like I said, which also further cuts the chart because it's so complex. You can't just pinpoint somebody to a region. Okay, when people are migrating, people being shipped here, shipped there. Okay, so it's basically like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's all over the place. But this says blacks of the land, Indian slavery. So off tops, blacks of the land, Indian slavery. Okay, synonymous, blacks of the land, Indian slavery. So again, why isn't this being brought out? But it says shelter society and the Portuguese colonial enterprise in South America, and you see right here, uh, you see people of color, okay, Negroes, all right. So blacks of the land, which the same thing was in West Africa. I didn't get that together, but basically it was called Negro land. Okay, land of the blacks, Jews of El Sudan. Or matter of fact, let me get that real quick. Okay, so just going for the Wikipedia, but basically, okay, various, it says West African Jewish communities who were connected to known Jewish communities from the Middle East, North Africa, or Spain and Portugal. Various historical records attest to their presence at one time in Ghana, Mali, and Songhai empires, and then the Bilad el Sudan from the Arabic meaning land of the blacks. Okay, so land of the blacks over in West Africa and blacks of the land in South America. All right, so it ain't no coincidence. Okay, so like this is the book that was brought out. Um, so this was from Jack Forbes as well. Okay, and this was um, yeah, this is from article he did. All right, but getting to the point, it says, thus the commonly used label for indigenous people, so not Africans, okay, in 16th century Brazil, Negros de Terra, okay, blacks of the land. So you guys like what's his name? You Northern Kingdom Prophet. You trying to show Amazons, Salaki, you trying to show Amazonian people in Brazil, and you trying to, oh yeah, these are the people, indigenous people, but they was called Negros de Terra, blacks of the land. Okay, so this is a tribesman in Brazil. Was he called looking like a Siberian Mongoloid? Okay, was he called blacks of the land? No. All right. So, and it says revealed a perception of them in a servile status more or less equivalent to Africans. See, equivalent to Africans who were called Negros de Guinea. Okay, so yeah, somebody. Oh, it was because they had dark skin, it wasn't Negro. They just had some type of tan. You know what I'm saying? Like y'all act like brown, like you're brown when you're beige. You know, you call us black. Okay, when we're brown. All right, so it's like yeah, you guys be talking oh black and brown, like you're brown. Okay, you're beige. So, but it said it was the equivalent to Africans being called Negros de Guinea. All right. So, that was what I wanted to show there. So, Negros de Terra. All right. So, and let's further show. Okay, so I wanted to show them being shipped as well, but I wanted to show further show. Where did that go? I think I passed it. Okay, right here. So these are Amazonian Indians being converted by a Jesuit. Okay, so right here it says in the 17th century who worked among the Amazon Indians. Okay, and you look into that. That's talking about Brazil. Okay, but you see that they're Negroes. Okay, so yeah, dudes talking about yeah the Amazon and them looking like Indian or looking like Mongoloids, but yeah, the real images and the real terms that were predating what you see today all tied back to Negroes. Okay, okay, some other things. Okay, and in August 1552, Noriega wrote from Bahia South America to Lisbon, referring to the native peoples as Negroes. Okay, and this is what he was saying, that he is preaching to the Americans, okay, called Negroes. He also referred to the Negroes and Los Mamalucos de la Tierra as pupils. Okay, so just to show Noriega, okay, talking about how the people over here were Negroes. Okay, which further shows that the Negroes de Terra is accurate. Okay, so and yeah, another thing with this guy, Northern Kingdom Prophets, which I'm gonna deal with all you clowns, Northern Kingdom Prophets, Job Issachar, Ayash, all you guys. I got the Canaan lesson coming. All right, but as far as I know, these other uh, Northern Kingdom Prophet don't really push that, but a lot of stuff that you've been bringing out has been false in regards to Aboriginal history, and you're getting mad at Corey Mayu for bringing out the truth, and you're calling him an agent and all of that. I'm cutting you right here. Okay, and I got stuff where actual Latinos do agree and know that the real people of this land were black people. Okay, so but yeah, here we go. Negros de Terra. Okay, so this is Bahia, the heart of Brazil's northeast. Okay, okay, Salakia. Okay, so and this was part of that book, Blacks of the Land, but it says the title of which translates literally as Blacks of the Land, one of many terms the Portuguese used for the Amerindians. Okay, so and we said that yeah, Columbus sent some people to the Portuguese. Okay, because yeah, so you had different people. You had, like I said, when I showed in the Thanksgiving, which matter of fact I'll bring that out in a minute, but just showing you that different tribes were sent to Spain and Africa. Okay, whether it was the Indians in Brazil, um, yeah, you or not, yeah, like the Caribbean islands, Brazil, the East Coast, okay, of America, North America. Okay, so that's the book Bahia. All right, but I wanted to bring this out real quick. Okay, and Noriega and many other early Iberian Catholics believed that the American indigenous people were descendants of one of the lost tribes of Israel, and as such, they were protected by the church. Okay, so this was found in this book. Okay, so for you guys that continue to talk about Israel or Negro only. Okay, so yeah, we established that Noriega was talking about them being Negroes, the people he saw. Okay, that they were trying to convert. Okay, and this is the book called A History of Colonial Brazil, 1500 to 1792. All right, and I brought this out before, but it says uh, ways had to be found to attract more Indians to Christianity. A principal Indian who lived in Bahia had already accepted the faith. The Jesuits gave him a red beret and a pair of trousers to cover his privates. On one occasion, they sat him at the table with them as a sign of respect and in order to oppress the other Negroes. Okay? So, Negroes. All right? The governor general was the strongest supporter of the Jesuits. Tom de Souza said Noriega, that same person, was chosen by the Most High to govern. He is careful and sensible, and our Lord will preserve him to govern this our people of Israel. Okay, so just another source showing that how they thought that the people over in Brazil were Israelites. Okay, so and then also because I know some brothers might be acting like it was just a bunch of Hamites over here. No, no. All right, there Israel. A lot of these indigenous tribes that you look at today are Israelites. Okay, not Hamites. Okay, so it's not you're not gonna play games. Now everybody, and that's what I'm saying. I'm making this lesson because you got some that's But like I said, I am in no means with you camps. I am in no means agreement with you camps that teach the chart, your doctrine, none of that. I am not with you. All right. But I am speaking to those that act as if Israel is the only slave trade was West Africa, which I'm showing here that you had Indians that were Negroes, okay, that were shipped to Spain and Africa, okay, and was classified as being the children of Israel, Indios, God's people, people of God, okay, that you can't get around it. And I'm gonna show other things later in the future to prove that yes, the people over here was Israel. Now, do I subscribe to the whole Assyrian being America? Like I said, further studies could be shown, and I'm a humble brother, and I'm, you know what I'm saying. If I gotta study, I gotta study. Okay, but there's some things that with Israel coming to the Americas that doesn't sit right with me. Okay, but I believe yeah, you had people coming from West Africa before the slave trade to the Americas as well, and there's many people in West Africa, Ghana, Nigeria, so on and so forth that have records of them migrating from Israel, which yeah, other things which I can bring out later in lessons. All right, so that's what I'm saying. You could have had people that migrated from West Africa over here, and were the 10 tribes that was over here from them being over in that region, Asareth, because like I said, there's maps that show Asareth to be in Africa, and them coming over here still. Okay, and then like I said, that's why most of the Spaniards and so on and so forth, when they came across the people all on the Caribbean and the South and Mexico and Central America, all of it, yeah, Negroes. All right, so let's continue. All right, so this might even be like a two-part. I might just touch with what I wanted to get off my chest, and then I'll make a second part with the scriptures. Otherwise, I will just have, like I said, bear with me. It might be a long lesson. I didn't want it to get this long, but a lot of this stuff has to come out. Okay, so all right, so let me see real quick. I think I might have one more source in regards to. Um, okay, so that is okay. Yeah, matter of fact, before I even get on this dude Ayash real quick. Um, okay, so this is also from this is also from the book Africans and Native Americans. All right, and it says uh, it may well be that Americans, which were indigenous Indians, were introduced into the Portuguese African outpost soon after 1500. As noted above, for now, did Roja was given a contract to ship slaves and Brazil wood from Brazil beginning in 1502. So, yes, like I said, Deuteronomy 28, verse 68 does apply to indigenous people. All right, but who were those indigenous? Okay, and it says John Voight states of Noroha, called Laronha during 1502-03. This merchant's involvement with San Jorge de Mina, Ghana, included supplying all slaves and wine to the port. Okay, and what does the scripture say? Does not Joel say, Joel 3, that a boy would be given for wine? Okay, so yeah, all right. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm not with you, camp. So don't try to use this. Oh yeah. Those see you Negro onlys. No. This is we just established who they were. But if you can't get past them being Negro, again, let's see where they were shipped to. Okay, so simultaneous, Laronha held leases for Brazil and Guinea pepper monopoly. Most of the slaves taken to Minna were gathered together on San Tome Island, okay, which is in Africa. But it seems like highly likely that Noronha would have utilized some of the Brazilian slaves he acquired in his African activities, at the very least as miners and laborers. a Brazilian scholar, Jose Rodriguez, has written that from the 17th to the 19th century, Brazil had more contact with and greater bonds to Angola, Dahomey, okay, and parts of the coast of Mina and Guinea than did Portuguese itself. Okay, so uh, it said, now listen to this. It said many Brazilians went to Angola. Okay, so obviously this is not talking about African slaves that were shipped from Africa to then went to Brazil, then went back to Africa. This is talking about those Brazilians, Negros de Terra, that went to Angola as soldiers, peddlers, businessmen, prostitutes, and exiles. Okay, it will be very interesting to trace the first Brazil American impact directly upon Africa, but doubtless it is more or less simultaneous with the first African impact upon Brazil. By the 1500s, native Brazilians were in Portugal in some numbers, and at about the same time, the regular shipment of Africans to Brazil commenced. Because so there was going back and forth. You had black people that had just showed Negroes that were going to Angola, Dahomey, those West Africa, and going to Portugal. All right, and the Portuguese. What do we establish that the Portuguese said about the Indians in in South America? Negros de terra. So don't get simple. All right. All right. So okay. So now and this is chapter 10. I didn't put the page number, but this I know this is chapter. It's like chapter 10. But it says the presence of Native Americans in Europe and Africa. So what it is, this says the presence of Native Americans in Europe, Spain, Portugal, so on and so forth, and Africa. We just stated Angola, okay, and various other spots, okay, and in significant numbers. Okay, so this ain't talking of. So yeah, like I said, you clowns talking about, yeah, we were shit before Judah, and but so you guys are in Africa. You guys, like, come on, man, like, stop with the BS. All right, so and it says from the 1490s onward, and has been overlooked by the scholarly world in general. So this has been overlooked, okay? Because yeah, you people are teaching that the Indians was killed off, and we just established that they weren't killed off; they were shipped to Africa and Europe, where their descendants are still there today. Okay, but it says, um, matter of fact, I'm gonna drop down. It says now, however, uh, we can demonstrate enough intensity of contact to allow for the diffusion of American techniques, crops, bills, uh, folklore, music, art, medicine, and so on, not by some indirect means, but through direct American contact within Europe and Africa. Okay, evidence has been presented in the preceding pages to show that Columbus planned to sell American slaves to African islands controlled by Spain, okay, and Portugal as early as the mid 1490s. Okay, and when you look in Africa, in a lot of like Equatorial Guinea, that's an example of a place that speaks Portuguese. For instance, let me show. But yeah, Equatorial Guinea. Okay, so they speak, and this is west coast of Africa, right? Spanish, French, Portuguese. Okay, that's who. Yes, Spanish, French, Portuguese. Okay, so what did it say here? Controlled by Spain and Portugal as early as the mid 1490s, and that it is extremely likely that the Portuguese began to use native Brazilians in Africa as early as the first decade of the 16th century. Native Native American contacts with Africa intensified as Angola and West Africa became ever more entwined with Brazil, and especially with the direct Dutch use of Native American auxiliary troops in the conquest of Angola, Elmina, Ghana. Okay, so that was the term for Ghana, and the Portuguese islands of the Gulf of Guinea. Okay, Portuguese island of the Gulf of Guinea. Okay, and it says, uh, we have been able to outline the possible extent of Native American presence in places such as Angola, Ghana, Spain, Portugal, the Netherlands, and so on, but we have not exhausted the subject. Quite the contrary, it will be necessary for other scholars to conduct detailed in-depth studies in all of the countries mentioned. Okay, we can be sure, however, that a new chapter in social and cultural history of Africa and Europe will be open once the American presence is acknowledged and further investigated. Okay, so Native Americans or indigenous, I don't like the term Native Americans because even the word native, a white man could be native to by definition. Okay, which yeah, that's what it is. But basically, yeah, Native American presence in places such as Angola, Ghana. Okay, so Ghana, like I said, are you Hispanics, Latinos, you modern day? Again, not talking about Afro Mexicans, obviously. So are you, and these other Mongoloid or Spaniard or what mestizo? Are you in Ghana? Are you in Angola? You know what I'm saying? Somebody, oh, we in Spain or whatever. But again, there's a lot of black people in Europe, point blank, period. Okay, there's a lot of black people in France, like I said, Spain, the UK, a lot of Jamaicans over there. Um, I've been to France, you know what I'm saying? Paris. Okay, and I've talked to people from the islands like Guadeloupe. Okay, so these people, some indigenous, some possibly of the African slave trade. Okay, but the point is, yeah, you know, okay, and it said they went to Ghana, right? So I wanted to bring this out right here. It says Tombong, the Afro-Brazilian ex-slaves who set up Ghana's first tailoring shop in 1854, because you had, which I had it right here, um, okay, because you had uh, slaves that went back to Ghana. Okay, so like I said, so if these were Asher, and then say they went back to Ghana, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, you would, according to the chart, yeah, you would have Asher in Ghana. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, who's to tell who they were, whether they were the indigenous people, and they, because again, everyone wasn't shipped off from Brazil, so you had people coming from Africa, Israel coming from Africa, and like I said, you had Israel leaving Brazil going out to Africa. But did all of them leave? No. So those could have been indigenous people that went back to Ghana. Okay, or like I said, it could have been those coming from the Africans from west coast of Africa going back as well. No one could tell because I just showed that native Brazilians was heavily going back to Africa, even though that was in the 16 and what I believe it said the 18 to 17 to the 19th century. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, this could have happened as well. Okay, so where's the other thing I wanted to bring out? Okay, so the Tombong people, many of us, I just wanted to go into this real quick because what people don't understand as well, which hold on, I'll say what I was gonna say, but I don't want to lose my point. But the Tombong people, many of us know Amuza Nelson, the famous world champion boxer. Okay, so this is him. Okay, he was Tombong, meaning he, yeah, he came from Brazil. Okay, so but he was in Ghana. Okay, so but he was a world class boxer. Okay, and you know what I'm saying. So okay, so let's further show that. All right, Okay, it says, what many don't know is he is a descendant of the Tombong people and Afro-Brazilian group who returned home from Bahia in Brazil, which we talked about Bahia just minutes ago. Brazil is a country in the Americas which received the majority of the African slaves. It is estimated that between 3,000 and 8,000 Afro-Brazilians returned home between the 18th and 20th centuries. There are two stories regarding the reason for the Africans' return. One is that the group had brought their freedom in Bahia and then decided to return to the home of their ancestors. The other is that they caused a revolt and were sent back by the authorities because of the trouble they had caused. Okay, and these are just a few. The families who returned were these are a few of the people. Okay, and it says the returnees included African borns on the continent and descendants of Africans who were yet to step foot on the continent. Okay, so it says Africans born on the continent. So, like I said, no one could tell whether all of these people came from West Africa or not, because and that's the assumption. Okay, but I showed that native Brazilians went to Africa prior to that, so they were Negroes. They was already here. Okay, but it says they came with their Brazilian culture, language, and trade, which benefited the Ga communities they settled amongst. Okay, and let's get this real quick. I just wanted to show. So it says tradition and customs of the Ga Jamis of Ghana, descendants of authentic biblical Hebrew Israelites. Okay, which these people in West Africa trace themselves to Israelites. Okay, so the Tombong people, when you do research, they were basically they were welcomed by these people. Okay, so yeah, obviously they knew that they were the same people. They were Israelites. Okay, so because yeah, like some went to Nigeria, some went to Nigeria, um, but yeah, some went to Nigeria and some other places as well. Okay, so like I said, it is good to note that not all Afro-Brazilians return to Ghana. Some return to Nigeria, Benin, and Togo, and are referred to as Aguda Amores and have surnames like Sosa, Silva, Ompium, and Cordoza. Um, all right, so but it says the God people, so we know that that's what it's talking about. And y'all could do your own research. They settled amongst. Although Ghana became one of the few examples where such a group became fully integrated into the African community, you will still see some Brazilian elements such as Brazilian agriculture, Brazilian house, and Jamestown being an example. Okay, so I just wanted to show that, and show the connection with Brazil. Uh, yeah, the connection with Brazil and how they were shipped to Africa. Okay, so let's go to the next thing. Okay, so like I said, y'all gotta bear with me. But like I said, this first segment that I'm doing is just kind of to show that uh, because you had Indians that were Negroes that were being shipped, like I said, to all the way to Africa and as far as Egypt, because I showed that, and which I'll put that in the link description about the tribe, the Indian tribe. So again, we're scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, okay, all Israel. But the point is to show that Israel is scattered. So yeah, like I said, not just Judah, which they would say primarily it was coming from West Africa, but all the tribes are scattered in South America, in Africa, in Europe, and as far as India, I've done the lesson on David Rubini showing the black Jews of India. You know what I'm saying? So you got Jake in Yemen, so on and so forth. You got Jacob in Fiji. I've shown Negroes that say they're from Dan in Fiji, okay, and they look like African Americans. I'm not speaking of like Japhetic descendant. I'm talking about these people look straight like African Americans. Okay, so let me touch on to this Mexico thing and real quick, and then let's get into these scriptures. Okay, all right, so now the Bonaparte murals. Okay, so you have the Bonaparte murals, which this dude or Salakia, and this is also another thing about Brazil. Okay, so this Brasileira. Okay, and you could tell that only those that really been study the maps, the ancient map, or not the ancient maps, but the maps that they were putting up in like the 1600s and so on. They had Negroes. Okay, so Brazil, you see the feather. Okay, these are the people again, Negros de Terra. All right, so the people had to be here that were Negroes for them to call the people here. They didn't bring Africans from West Africa to here and then call the place Negros de Terra. No, okay. So, but that was just another image. All right, so now this clown, Northern Kingdom Prophets, and I wasn't even really trying to touch on him per se in this lesson. I was gonna save it for this lesson I got on the Canaanite doctrine, but he was trying to say that this is like look like modern day image, and which you guys are the ones that type in Aztec pictures. Well, I'm putting Aztec, but you're the ones that get pictures like this and think this is talking about this is what the Aztecs look like when I've shown that they were swarthy. Okay, and while I'm yet here, this clown, which I already cut him, this dude talking about this Ayash or whatever his name is, they're not Mexicans, speaking on a post that was showing Afro Mexicans, because we can see what he's talking about. They're the remnant of the people that were scattered during the slave trade of the so-called blacks, which I cut that back then. Okay, which you can find that on this scripture, or I'll put that in the link description. But that was on the Scriptures No Vain Opinion page channel. All right, so but like I said, these people, you show images, which as you can see some of the images right there, I'll bring those back up, but they'll think this is an Aztec, yet they won't bring out like images like this, which this is from the book The Conquistadors. All right, so letting it load up. Okay, so these are Negroes. Okay, so I've brought this out. Many also, I believe I brought it out on the F.O.P.E video. If y'all want to look at that as well. But these were Aztecs, and this is Cortez. Okay, and then this book, The Mystery of the Mexican Pyramids. Okay, as you can see, Hernan Cortez meeting Moctezuma and the Aztecs. Okay, and look at the the architect and all of the buildings and stuff like that. So, okay, those were the Aztecs. Okay, this is the Aztec, Montezuma, dark skin, Negro. Okay, so yeah, I mean it's saying Montezuma, so you can't get around. He got the spirit, like everything. Okay, so this is not the real Aztec. So when you clowns show images like Aztec, oh we Aztec, and no, this is the real thing. That's why I talk about scholarship. This is pseudo. This is because I didn't just show an image. I'm gonna show actual proof that they are Negroes. But hold on. Yeah. So yeah, but that's Montezuma. And when I went to Mexico, I went into and this is the one more in color with Cortez. Okay, same image, but you can see how Cortez light. Look at all these people light, and these people are dark. Okay, so oh those people, yeah, brown, you're brown. Like no, no, Negroes, yeah, we're brown. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, this world gets so used to calling us black. You know what I'm saying? Instead of what we rightfully are, brown. We're the real brown people. All right, but look at Montezuma. Now this was a wax museum. Now this is what they have Montezuma, right? And I believe this was in Tijuana. But as you can see, the side by side. Okay, so you guys literally will push this and act like this is the truth. That's why I don't see, like, my thing with y'all is like, if y'all want to serve our God, cool. You know what I'm saying? If you're a cleaver, you know what I'm saying? If you're a cleaver and you want to serve our God, I have all the respect for you, love for you. You want to serve the Most High. We trying to, make it, and serve and get to the kingdom. You know what I'm saying? But when you claim to be like you're an Israelite and then you're lying, when the scriptures tell you every man tell truth to his neighbor, I have a problem with that. You know what I'm saying? And then you, like I said, this guy, Northern Kingdom Prophet, you lying about a letter from which, like I said, I'm gonna deal with all of that in my upcoming video on lesson on Canaan. But because I want to have the brother Karash with me and the other brother Karash with me when I do that. But when I have uh, or Salakia, yeah, you bringing out stuff on Columbus and how he was saying that the people weren't Negro or something, which you didn't read it all. Okay, so I just wanted to bring this out to prove all things, because that dude, Northern Kingdom Prophets, in a lesson he did, he uh, didn't bring forth the real understanding of one of Columbus's voyages, and I guess because the he was talking about a particular um, native tribe that were not black, so to speak. He used that and tried to say like there was no, I guess he was trying to say there was no Indian tribes that were black, which I've been showing this whole time that there were, and previous lessons. But this was a source to cut that, and it's from 100 Amazing Facts About the Negro. And before I read it, this is another cut to this clown, but this is the kind of stuff that goes on, uh, with this false narrative that Negroes, we only came during slavery, and that all the Afro Latinos are basically from slavery. Just like, again, how you guys is trying to say that, anyone that's black is from Judah, and that's false. Okay, but this guy, this clown, he says, no, that's not true at all. Those are the real faces of the Olmecs, which is, like I said, it's these fake images that are going around trying to Photoshop modern day Mexicans and trying to make them seem like they're the Olmecs and stuff like that. But yeah, these people right here, how come you guys don't compare to these Afro Mexicans? Okay, but it says those are the real faces of the Olmecs because the Olmecs are indigenous people. There is not real evidence that the blacks came to Mexico before the conquistadors, which is a lie. Okay, and then he says 30% of the population in Mexico are still full-blooded indigenous, and they are not black. The only black people that are living in Mexico came like slaves uh, with the Spaniards, and that's why they living close to the sea, like Guerrero, Oaxaca, and Veracruz, which that's false. But what he won't tell you is those same places is where the Olmecs, the Mayan, all of those places is where the Yucatan, all of that is where those artifacts are found in Veracruz, Oaxaca, all of that, especially Veracruz, and I'll further show that in the Canaan lesson and other lessons. Like I got to keep saying that because it's got to be done. But basically, back to here, it says Peter Martyr, the amanuensis. kind of hard to say, but amanuensis of Columbus, which means assistant of Columbus, tells of Negroes living in Central America before the introduction of slavery. So this clown is X'd out because he says there's no proof, but here it is. Columbus's assistant says there was Negroes before slavery and says these were the first Negroes seen in the Indies. Okay, and then that's a cut to Northern Kingdom Prophet. Okay, so yeah, you want to use that say Columbus was saying that there were black Indians or whatever you were saying. So he encountered countless the Tainos. I showed who the Tainos were, or those Indians that were shipped to Spain. So you mean to tell me he was just lying this whole time that he never saw black people in the Americas? All right. Okay, but just real quick to cut that. Um, okay, because you guys always using that these false images of Aztecs, but let me show some more images real quick. Okay, so man and woman of Mexico. Okay, dark skin. You could tell he has a bow and arrow. So this is not talking about somewhere in Africa or something like that. These are the people that were most likely the Mayans, most likely the Aztecs. Okay. Um, okay. Oh, and Salat. Matter of fact, Aztec. Let me show that real quick. Um, show that. So, and then this right here, I've shown this before. I shown that in that Mexican video when I cut this dude Ayash. But it says Mexican Indians, Native American man, woman, and child from Mexico. Also includes men wearing a poncho or blanket, and another man wearing a skin cloth, hat, and sandals. Okay, so yes, look at this, Native American. So you can't fault me. You can't say, oh, those are Africans. Those are the people that like this clown talking about. Those are the descendants of slaves that came. No, these are the people that was already here. Okay. Okay, and this is Aboriginal Mexicans. Okay, it says the Costa Chicans say they are not. And another thing, which I'll show, like I don't want to show that right now, or I don't kind of know pressed for time, but basically a lot of those stone heads, like from the Olmecs and things, those are in places like Veracruz, the Yucatan, basically in the South where Afro Mexicans dwell. Okay, so that alone is cutting you clowns. Like the Olmecs and all of that, that is where the Veracruz was. All right, and so it says the Costa Chicans say they are not. They insist the descendants of African slaves. Okay, Costa. As you can see, the little map right here. Oaxaca is another place. Guerrero. There was never slavery here, even in ancient times. Okay, noted that he found no consciousness of slavery among people in Costa Chica. So these are Afro Mexicans saying this. Okay, so they were already here. Okay, and it says housewives in San Jose, Estancia Grande, and Santiago and Costa Chica say their ancestors did not come from Africa, that their families have always lived right here. Okay, and those are the sources, so everything's there for you to see. Okay, so let me go back to the Mayan thing real quick. Um, okay, because you got a lot of people that twist, which I didn't have should have put that image, but you have a lot of these fake people that they claim that people, yeah, this so like what they call it, the Aboriginal movement is cultural appropriating and all of that, because and then they take pictures, false images of modern day Mexicans and try to link them up with. I should have put it on there, but like I said, I'm gonna do it for the Canaan lesson. But basically, they try to take pictures and matching up with the Olmecs, and it's look like it's Photoshop, all type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? They use the same people every time, as if Negroes and the people in Afro Mexicans don't already have a broad nose, thick lips. Okay, but as you can see in this clown, yeah, like I said, Northern King talking about this is looks like modern. Uh, but the Bonaparte murals is an actual place where you can go and see these images on the wall. Stupid. So it ain't. Oh, this ain't like what you guys do. You guys type in or you Google pictures. As you can see, look at there's a floor here. You know what I'm saying? So this is not something you. This is in Mexico, Chiapas. All right. So okay, so all dark skin. Okay, and this image right here, you got, and they started like, I don't know, messing up the images, disfacing them. Where's that part that I had? Slide. Okay, here it is. Yeah, so they started messing up these images. Okay, so and people want to talk about, I guess, the head aspect. Um, okay, because this was supposed to be the and they say a Aztec couple and Mexican tribe now practically extinct. But look at woolly hair, okay, and you could see like the mixture, but you can still tell that they're Negroes, okay. And then I forgot his name. I think it's Aldridge, Marcus. Yeah, Lamarcus Aldridge. Okay, so I believe that's who that is. Yeah, so yeah, he's matched up with same phenotype type and everything of this supposed to be Aztecs. Okay, okay, so now that even though that was the Aztecs, um, but it just kind of showing, uh, that was I thought I didn't have that image of the couple, but yeah, those are the Aztecs. But yeah, this is in regards to the Mayans. Okay, so you see all the dark images, the Bonaparte murals, dark. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to hear no clowns trying to say that they painted themselves and all. So they not only you trying to say they painted themselves, but then they had dreads or locks, so to speak. How come this texture is not with these guys that you claim? And like I said, this is what these people claim. Okay. And also I want to add because you get, like I say, you got a lot of guys that's talking about cannibalism, and Israel was doing that. Okay, so don't you guys, some of you guys that be getting, so oh, those was Hamites and all of that, but we know that we was being cannibal. The Most High said in the curses we would eat the we would eat our children. You know what I'm saying? The fruit of thy loins, I believe it said in the curses. Okay, but it's been proven we was doing all type of wickedness. Okay, following after these other nations. Okay, but point is, look at, yeah, like I said, this ain't no paint. You know what I'm saying? And they had dread. I keep saying dreads, but locks, dreads, locks. You know what I'm saying? But here's some more. Okay, again, this Mayans. Okay, Mayan base mural. Okay, just showing some more images, showing clear. It's clear. So as you can see, this ain't no thing you got off of Google. So talking about it's modern and all of this kind of stuff. And then yeah, in your video you were saying, I forgot which one, but basically you trying to compare this with Asians with Asian bugloids with locks, which again everybody has locks now. So yeah, like trying to compare someone like this because he got locks with what's at the Bonaparte murals with dark skinned people. See how, man, y'all boys is crazy, man. Like look all, so you're comparing all these dark skinned Mayans, which is light brown to dark brown, okay, which is the Negro is vast again, Okay, so like not every Negro is gonna be Wesley Snipes, but you're not gonna sit there in front and act like yeah we're the same people. But look at again all of this Bonaparte murals. All right, so as you can see, like you got people over here light, and then yeah the dark skin. Okay, so but yeah, as you can see, yeah even Asians. Yeah, look like this guy. He looks like a so-called Native American. Yeah, Mongoloid Native American. Okay, so what you're trying to say that you're trying to kind of compare these locks with this guy? No. Okay, so there was another one when I was looking at this earlier. Okay, like cause like you got Esau doing this now. Okay, so yeah, like so you're acting like and my thing is you a lot of you Hispanics and Mexicans because again this is the Mayans. You a lot of you Mexicans do not go around with locks. Okay, so just stop it, cut it out, man. But yeah, like him, he looks clear just like the other guy, like Native American. So he basically showing you're showing basically these people like yeah like which they could be Negro stock. But like some people like this, you trying to show that and trying to act like, yeah, like, come on, man. But yeah, like he got locks, look like a Native American, and I got so many other images of more Negroid Mexican images and Indians with like this texture and other various textures. Okay, so that was it on that. But I wanted to show this as well. Um, okay, so this is from the book. Salakia, hold on. Okay, and yeah, Salakia, I wanted to say because also you had uh, you have yeah Asians, which has been proven that Asians are cousins of these modern day Native Americans. That's something that I will be bringing out in the Canaanite video as well. But as you can see, Pemberton, which I showed that the Pequot, which he is, and Narragansett were the real Native American, or Indian tribes that were involved in the Thanksgiving. But as you can see, he has dreads. You can see it kind of in the back a little bit that he has locks as well. Okay, so we're not going to play games. But or actually before I touch that, I didn't even get that part. But as you can see right here, this is from the George Catlin 1841. It says books, letters, and notes on the North American indigenous people of America. And it says all primitive tribes known in America are dark, coppery colored with jet black hair, while most possess curls in the extreme. Okay, and every level of wavy hair in between. The texture of the hair is generally fine, soft, or silk, or coarse or harsh. Okay, it says the hair of the men falling down to their hams and sometimes to the ground is divided into plats or slabs 2 inches wide and filled with a profusion of glue and earth, which become very hard and remains unchanged from year to year. Today, this form of hair is called locks. Okay, so you see the examples, but yeah, you want to try to again, you're trying to compare that to, uh, uh, mongoloids with, yeah, mongoloids. Okay, but it said dark copper, and then you wanted to say the copper color is talking about. It said dark copper color, but like I said, I'm gonna put y'all dudes. I'm gonna just clear y'all out, man, with the Canaan lesson. Like I'm gonna show copper color. I'm gonna show, yeah, I'm gonna show all of that. But this is primarily for Isaiah 11 and 12. So, and like I said, I just wanted to edify y'all on some things. Okay, and this was when I was in Mexico. This pyramid, and it says after seeing the pyramids at Chichen Itza, me and my wife stayed around to ask a few questions. The guy said that people of color built this, which we know the Israelites are of Negro descent and came over here as Second Ezra's 13, which, like I said, I don't entirely subscribe to that anymore. But I asked him if he knew about the Mayans being Israel. He said he heard of it. He also stated a lot of current Mayans are Mongols, which a lot of them looked Asian because we were around Chichen Itza and a lot of them look Asian. Okay, so yeah, okay, so yeah, like I said, locks. Okay, even like the Crow Indians, yeah, bear grease to straighten hair. Okay, like black women, or just in general, but us as Negroes, we use grease a lot. Okay, so it's not, and like I said, you're gonna have images because we mixed, which people don't know that history of us Negroes was mixing in with Asians. Okay, so that's why some images show dark skin with dark skin Indians mixed with Asians, which yeah, like I said, some not denying that some out here are ham. Okay, but like I said, Israel was over here. All right, so about to wrap up and then get to the scriptures. But it says this is from Dr. Nicholas Leon, physical archaeologist, anthropologist, ethnologist, founder of Museum of Michoacan in Mexico. The almost extinction of the original Negroes during the time of the Spanish conquest and the memories of them in the most ancient tradition induce us to believe that the Negroes were the first inhabitants of Mexico. Okay, so yeah, if your own people is saying that the people in Mexico were Negroes, yes, that means that yeah, them what you see on the walls with the Mayans, those was Negroes. Okay, so you're not going to try to match that up with modern day Native Americans that have dreads and locks like damn so-called white man. All right, so and this says the Negro type is seen in the most ancient and this is Carlos Marquez and he says, another historian, he says, the most ancient Mexican sculpture, the Negroes figure frequently in the most remote traditions of some American pueblos. It is to this race doubtlessly belongs the most ancient skeletons distinct from the red American race. Okay, and I'm gonna show how they say that the modern day natives, what they found here of the modern day Native Americans is not accurate. It more so matches people from Africa and like the Pacific Islands. Okay, but it says the red, distinct from the red American race, which have been found in various places from Bolivia to Mexico. It is likely that we repeat America was a Negro continent. Okay, so this is the last thing I wanted to get. But it says British Honduras to Belize transformation of a nation. Okay, I didn't, but that's that. I forgot the author. It's down here, but it's like Godfrey something. All right, so I wanted to get to the point. It says in the area, this page 25, it says in the area that is now Belize, the Mayan. And matter of fact, let me show this. Because if you got a lot of people that talk about how the you got a lot of people that talk about which this colossal Olmec head was sent to Belize, but you got a lot of people that talk about how um, the Olmec heads they weren't Negro or whatever, they say stuff like that. But basically, um, this was a Mayan ruins in Belize, which we're reading, and you see the clear, like this is what I'm talking about. The lips, the nose, like you can't get around it. This was supposed to be Mayan, so all right, Mayan ruins. So let's look. It says in the area that is now Belize, the Mayans suffered and died under Spanish occupation. Okay, they were massacred and fled into the dense forests of central and western Belize for security. Okay, so yes, they were looking like this, and yeah, the Mayans looking like this. Okay, so it says the British buccaneers and pirates also attacked the Mayan along the coast of Belize. They raided and destroyed most of the Mayan settlements along the coast. They also stole food, enslaved the Mayan, and kidnapped Mayan women and children. See, now, and somebody will bring this out, acting like this is talking about modern day Mexicans. Like I said, this is not talking about you, Northern Kingdom prophets, Job, Issachar. Okay, it says some, because like I said, bam. Okay, you know what I'm saying? And it says some Mayans were even sold as slaves to British plantation owners and settlers in Jamaica. Okay, some were also sold to slave masters in the southern states of the United States, especially North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. And I've shown the Virginia Indians how they were Negro, classified as Negro, so on and so forth, which I brought that out in the Thanksgiving lesson. So I'll put that in the link description. Okay, so I just wanted to show that as well. So those Mayans were shipped to Jamaica. Okay, so where are y'all in Jamaica? That's what I want to know. Where are y'all in Jamaica? Okay, before I close this out, let me make sure I brought out everything. Actually, I had, it said this is something else I wanted to bring out earlier, but it says of considerable significance has been the documentation that Americans were often called Negroes, blacks, Negroes, or Morin, which is like Moor, in various languages, okay, along with other non-white peoples, and that it is very dangerous to assume that each and every person referred to as Negro or black was African. Okay, so I established that Indians was called Negro. Okay, this is especially pertinent to analyze relating to the character of slaves being shipped from or within the Americas. Okay, it says the evidence also shows that Native Americans were commonly referred to as people of color. So are you, man? And the one thing that I hate too is that now the people of color spectrum has now revolved people that are mestizos, that are more like genetically matching with Asians and Spaniards. Now y'all is now trying to claim that you're people of color. Okay, I'm sure. Yeah, y'all Northern Kingdom prophet, all y'all be trying to act like you're people of color. Okay, you know what I'm saying. So, but the point is, Native Americans were referred to as people of color. This is great. This is of great significance for the social history of the United States, Brazil, Argentina, and the Americas in general, since it has often been assumed by English-speaking scholars, especially that people of color in the United States or Prados and Brazil should be regarded as Negroes or people of black identity. Okay, so yeah, that was just showing you, and I show how people were classified as free people or free persons of color. Okay, and this was another like Mayan, as you can see, dark skin, the hair. Okay, yeah, Mayan look like fringes right here, but yeah, all right. Okay, and this was another one. This was the same thing with that about how the Negroes was put into extinction, but this is just some of the other images that we kind of went over. Okay, so wanted to get one last thing, and then let's get in these scriptures. All right, so I said, uh, so and this is the last thing. So like I said, I'm bringing this out in regards to, like I said, Israel, because what I'm bringing out, according to the chart, according to these men's chart, that everything about the Brazilian Indians in general are the Northern Kingdom. So yes, they went in slavery. They were scattered Afro Mexicans, Afro Latinos. Some are from here originally, or they came here whether it's 10 tribes or there was Africa came over here. Like I said, there's proof that West Africans came to America before slave trade, so they could have lived here, point blank. Period. Okay, whether Asareth is in Africa, Israel came to the Americas. Whether you going, yeah, people trying to teach that it was Second Ezra the 13 or not, Israel came to the Americas before the transatlantic slave trade. That's also the point I'm bringing as well. Okay, but I'm showing y'all the people, and they were Negroes. Okay, so like I said, I'm not with you chart believers. Okay, but I wanted to get to the point on this with the King Philip's War, and it says the New England Indian captives, which I showed that in the book Carolina Genesis. I don't want to go through and look for it, but in my folders right now. But it said the dark skinned natives and the dark skinned Moors was that's what the English called them. They called them Moors. Okay. All right, but it says, so this is talking about the New England Native Indian captives. Okay. It says New England Indian captives not only knew where they might be sent, but they often stated outright Barbados. Okay, and like I said, I want y'all to go watch the Indian of Thanksgiving video, and I'm gonna show everything in there. But I wanted to get this as well. But it says the paper trail of New England natives who were enslaved and sent overseas suggests that they arrived in Barbados, Bermuda, Jamaica, the Azores, Spain, Tangier, in North Africa, among other places. But Barbados often stood in for being sold overseas more generally. So I showed the Brazilian Indians being shipped to these same places. Now you had the New England Indians being shipped to these same places, as well as the people in the Caribbean, West Indians. All right. And it says beginning around 1616, Wampanoag, Pequot, Narragansett, Cherokee, Arawak, you know what I'm saying, and Indians from Central and South America were sold in Bermuda. Okay, and that's what I'm saying. All these places that are stated have black, obviously other than Spain and North America, North Africa now, but we know obviously it was Arabs and the Arab slave trade, and Arabs have now taken over primarily North Africa. But basically, these places like Jamaica, Barbados, all those places have nothing but black people. So you're not going to lie and say that it was some mongoloid looking Indians or whatever, and then here comes African slaves, and now they control all of the Caribbean. No, there was already black people in those islands before the slave trade, okay, that were going to slavery in all these places. Okay, so yeah, I hope y'all was edified from that. Okay, so let's get into the scriptures. All right.